Altercations, we present to you another segment of Prison Chronicles, where we have real ex-convicts talking about real stories, real events. And thank you for joining us. Please like and share. And today we have with us, I'm gonna let them introduce themselves to you.
Donald Sane.
Amanda Butler.
Big Country.
Okay, and we got and today we're just gonna continue to do what we do. Invite the public in to join us, and you ask questions as you feel free, and we'll try to get them answered as they show up and appear on the screen. And we'll start off with asking these questions here. I'm gonna start off like this, asking, what was your age of incarceration when you first went down? That's why, yeah.
18.
18.
15.
Right, I don't know. I'm gonna ask you, and and y'all can feel free to join in as I ask him. Going down at the age of 18, how was your first night in prison? What was if you can recollect your first night in prison? What was it like to you?
Diagnostics or
Your prison, because it don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot add prison in without diagnostic. But
it was loud.
most definitely, yeah.
Scared to death.
It was scary, yeah.
Well, if I was 15, I'd probably been scared to death, but at 18, I was all right. But it was just loud and banging on the doors, people screaming, people hollering. So it was weird.
How was it for you being a female?
How was it for me being a female?
Yeah.
Well, with the females facility, when you're walking in, you had the females looking at you like, who were going to get you first? Does that make sense? They looked at you like, maybe, I wonder if she had any money. Could I pimp her out of her money or get her to do certain things? Was my first night in prison.
In Big Country, you a big guy, and I know you probably wasn't the same size, weight wise when you first went down, but you didn't grow 8 inches in prison. You was always a tall guy.
Not that tall.
Huh?
I had a growth spurt when I was 17.
Yeah. So, being down, when we all went down at an early age, as we did you feel that you have to be more courageous and, just more, will yourself to be tougher and things like that? Do y'all think that's part of the equation?
Yeah.
Because you already know that, if you're scared, you're dead. Do y'all think like how the movies depict prison, do y'all think they the same?
No.
And what would you think would stand out, versus, cause they try their best. Like, y'all already know people have asked us questions and things like that. Is prison really like this? Is prison really like that? You know what I'm saying? Because they watch movies and they think it is what it is.
My opinion, I've only seen 2 movies that even come close to a prison. And it's called Shot Callers and The Felon. Other than that, every movie I've ever seen that had anything to do with prison was straight bullshit.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. But it's the day-to-day things that you don't see that's on there. You don't see that, let's say I get into it, this dude, I'm paying attention. I'm not paying attention just to him. I'm paying attention to everybody that's affiliated with him. Because that's going to be my problem too. So on the movies, and I don't think they show that, like the daily stuff, the business transactions, it just like when the cameras are gone. Yeah. What really goes on?
Yeah, for sure. And then I don't know where the people, like, even when you come up with movies, how do you get I know you ask questions, but a lot of people, I guess they ask the administration part, to get the stuff from the movies instead of asking people that have actually been there. But can y'all break down your experience in real life prison compared to the movies? Like, if you saw movies, like you say your realist was a felon in certain movies like that, could you say you have been through certain situations that was in those real movies and things like that? Can you explain? Can you
That's the
elaborate?
reason I say that. All right, Shot Callers, I've never been a gang member. But I socialized with a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And as far as like Shot Caller, if you watch how they do things and how they talk, and like a person that, what you call it, that wants to be in a gang, how he gets treated.
Yeah.
You got to go do this right here, just because the lieutenant or whatever has a beef with him, and so he sends him down there to go do his dirty work to fight him.
Yeah.
Well, I always figured I could get myself in my own trouble. I didn't need someone to go tell me to do something.
Did you have any altercations in prison, Amanda, being that you're a female?
I had many altercations being incarcerated. I was young. You got to understand, I was young when I went in, and I was full of anger, and I had a lot of bitterness in me. And so at that time,
Did you feel you had things to prove?
I did, because I didn't want people to think that I was a coward or I was a flunky or I was a do-girl, because I'm my own person. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. Does that make sense?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Give us an example of an altercation you had, because altercation could be anything. Did you, in prison, you can get the biggest war over a tennis game on TV. Soccer game, volleyball in prison. People don't realize how serious sports is in prison. Volleyball, baseball, basketball, football. But do you think, I'm just asking from the female point of view, because I definitely know how it is on our side, but you think altercations can arise from television or dominoes and stuff like that?
Most definitely, and it have.
Can it give us elaboration? You don't even have to use any names, but give us elaboration. Have you ever had an altercation over a TV? Something that's mine?
Oh, yes, I have. To where me and a young lady got into it over the television. I was watching TV, and she just mysteriously just got up out of her sleep and thought that she was going to take over the TV. And one thing led to another, to where I kind of got hot-headed and tempered, and I threw some hot water in her face.
Hot water? When you say hot water, is it just regular hot water?
No, it was past 90 degrees. It was like 180-degree hot water. I just threw it in her face.
And then it was just over with out there?
It was over with after that. I mean, I went to solitary confinement for 30 days.
How did, speaking of solitary confinement, and the whole to many, but we're breaking it down to what the terminology is too as we go along. But being in the hole, explain to it from the female point of view, and definitely y'all got to break it down for y'all, just being in the hole, doing time in the hole. How is it for a female being in the hole? Because right now you answering questions for us too, being that you a female.
Well, it kind of differs depending on your mind frame.
How much time did you do in prison?
18 years.
And how much did you do? How much did you do?
14 years and 8 months.
Okay, and how was it in the hole?
You gotta get that 8 months.
Gotta do
For
the 8
me,
months in there.
solitary confinement, it was okay for me, because as long as I had a book to read, or I had my radio, something to keep me occupied.
Western?
Sir?
A Western?
A Western? No,
What you reading them? The mailman.
not really.
The mailman.
No.
Hey, my favorite book to have in the hole was the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
I had that too.
When you get through with this, because you're gonna only have a certain amount of books. But when you run out of books to read, and that Bible got them stories that just never ended. Ain't nothing like the Old Testament.
And it is.
What
but at
about
the
being
same
hungry in the
time-
hole?
Who?
What about being hungry? Hey, one thing I learned about being in prison, when you locked up, if you don't learn how to do your sleeping pattern enough, you wake up at the wrong time thinking you hear them breakfast trays. Boy, your stomach gonna touch your back.
Take you some hot sauce and some seasoning packs to the hole.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I remember one time I was in the hole, and I caught myself making my breakfast tray. I made my sausage sandwich, and I was eating it, and I caught myself smiling, as I took a bite. And then when it just dawned, I'm like, dang, I'm smiling while I'm eating because I'm happy to be eating. Oh yeah, I'm like, nah, I can't keep doing this. Let me get out here and change, boy. But you're gonna end up right back there, right back there again. Hey, but being in prison though, did y'all gravitate towards any gangs, religion, and things like that as not just a coping mechanism, but a way of life?
Hustling.
Hustling. Oh, most definitely.
Hustling.
All right, we got at least we're gonna take a short commercial break and we'll come back to you and we're gonna elaborate on what you mean by hustling and things like that because a lot of people really don't understand. Like while we in prison, we asking our loved ones to bring us this, do this. They don't really understand what the hustle is in there. They're in regards to putting money on our books versus actually getting us this money. And so we're gonna break that down and we're gonna take a short commercial break and we'll get back right back to y'all and we'll elaborate that. We're back with a from commercial break, and we're gonna break down, the hustling part of prison. This is where the movies try their best to depict because the times have changed in prison, but I mean, and don't feel, what I'm saying, we ain't in prison no more, and we just gonna break it down how it really is. It not to the point we're gonna give them too much game to make them stop what's going on. But at the same time, you said you pass time with hustling. Could you break that down? What it means?
Cigarettes, dope, cell phone.
Cigarettes. All right, a pack of cigarettes. I know right now we're talking in different terms, but like a pack of cigarettes. When I first left the streets, you can get a pack of Buglers, what, $1.55, $1.55, stuff like that.
89 cents for top.
89 cents for top. So even in the course of doing time, we ain't gonna talk about nothing. We just talking about doing the time. We were saying in the joint. You paying what's the saying how much how many packs of cigarettes and this and that you getting and how much you projected to make, because if we paying 89 cents for a pack of tops, we finna break something down to y'all, the astronomical part of prison. Break that down.
Well, it just depends. They would spend $15 on a pound bag of tobacco. You can make 41 packs out of a pack of tobacco. That's putting 38 papers in each pack, even though you had to buy extra rolling papers.
Yeah.
And then with that, it depends on what unit you're at.
All right, so if you get it, yeah.
But it depends though.
Depend on what unit you at.
Because when I was at Varner, it was 20 packs. I mean, $20 a pack. You go to Cummins, it's $1 for cigarette.
Yeah.
Dollar for dollar.
So if you send out a drop, what's the most you done sent out for a drop? Like for instance, bam, I'm gonna send this out today. You know what I'm saying? What's the most you done sent out to get a certain amount of merchandise in?
I didn't. I had to send to this chick that lived in Harrison. I sent her $350 and she went across state lines.
Yeah.
And bought.
So
and sent it into
$350. What you gonna make out $350?
I made quite a bit.
If you stretch it, it's crazy. It's the
because then it was $20 a pack.
You have 20, kind of across the board is gonna be somewhere around $20. Like say you go to Dermot, it'll be a little higher, smaller unit, harder to get in. Okay, so but one, let's say it's $20. Then there's two different markets. You have cash and you have commissary.
Oh, for sure. Okay.
So the commissary universal is kind of like $2 a cigarette. So $2 times 36 is $72 commissary money off 89 cents. You just pay $72 worth of groceries.
So y'all selling it for dirt cheap because the females were selling $5 a cigarette.
Yeah. Well, it probably supply and demand too. How hard it is to get
Calico Rocks, $8 a cigarette.
I mean, look, where you at there? You ever been to Calico? Yeah. You ain't getting it's rare you gonna get something.
Well, it depends on what type of cigarettes too, because like for instance, y'all saying Buglers and Tops and stuff, it's like more or less like Newports and Marlboros.
You don't want no Cadillacs.
Okay, but that's how the females were getting at that time, just per se. And I would say if you was like Newports, give or take for an example. You want the shorts and you want the longs. The shorts for one single cigarette is $5. For the long cigarette was $10 for one, just for one.
But are y'all smoking them as a long cigarette, or are
No,
y'all breaking them down?
Well, give or take, depending. You got those that were big time and they would smoke it as a whole cigarette.
Was y'all smoking
Or
y'all with the tissue paper too?
Some were, not me, but some were.
Yeah.
What was it, Main Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Main Street.
Man. Hey, well, answer this, y'all. And break this down too. I don't. Definitely. When I ask questions, I definitely understand from y'all, but you got to break down what it still mean to you per se. But at the same time, you still breaking down like Fence, how we blew your mind with the cigarette prices on the men's side. But sports, do you think it's impossible? Well, I know people that hate sports, but what sports do to you in a way of passing time? Like watching it on TV, not just playing and things like that.
It was a barrier breaker of affiliations.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Otherwise, when you get on that field or get on that court, and yeah, you're gonna play with guys you're cool with, but you overall though, you might have a blood over here, a crip over here, a vice over here, a white supremacist over here playing on the same team. It was like a mutual safe zone, unless it got out of hand.
Right.
But for the most part, it was like a bond builder in a way, man. Because then that now you take it back to the grass, and now you're doing business on this or that with that same person you play ball with. It was kind of a bond thing to me, man. It was your mind wasn't in prison no more either when you was on that court. If you really played the flag football stuff.
So, ESPN. What about watching it though? Cause to me, I feel like you got basketball season, baseball, track, football. Every sport it got a season. Like once you watch all it, a year gone by.
Gambling on all
Yeah, definitely got to do the gambling, even if you ain't paying attention to the game. Like for instance, you get football starting in like August to November and stuff like that. That's just college and stuff, but it help you pass the time. Like you got the NBA. A whole year gonna go by.
I lost my Mac 5s on the game before.
Oh man, dang, Mac 5. Yeah.
Football and basketball are the main sports, though, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we betted on, like, the championship of baseball, but no one really paid attention to baseball.
Man, did you watch
You
NASCAR
had
enough?
very few people.
I mean, you.
Oh, yeah, you paid attention to everything.
Did you watch
yeah.
NASCAR enough?
Yeah.
You watch NASCAR?
Yeah,
We used to bet on cars.
I do got a little story about NASCAR. It was March Madness. That's when NASCAR starts around that time. And there was this old guy that he didn't like no sports but racing. But he was old, he couldn't do nothing. We had foreigner. And so the youngsters getting up about to watch March Madness. They basically taking over the TV, which I looked at too, because I want to watch March Madness too. And but he wanted to watch that Daytona 500 or whatever. And I was like, man, so I got up a little early this Saturday. I said, man, we're gonna let old school watch some of that racing. And so I've been in the bench a little while, but that's time to take a little bit of time. So I went down there and talked to the youngsters. Hey man, look, this man never gets to watch this race. Let him watch. March Madness is nonstop. I said, man, we might miss a game, man, but let him watch this right here. And they did, man. They did. It was a cool thing that even though they was youngsters, a couple of them had a couple words here and there for a second, man, but overall, they kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna just go and watch.
Speaking of sports and stuff, speaking of even television stuff, was it ever a time in prison that you weren't able to touch the TV or, jack off or anything like that?
Most definitely.
I'm talking about being that, you're a white guy.
There was like
unspoken rules, yeah.
That I guess I was supposed to abide by, but
did you abide by them?
not really.
Did you? Hey, boy, I'm talking about, man, this boy riding birds just to jack off. I'm talking about, he got 4 locks on.
But you gotta think, man, we 18.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
I got so much, and I worked out all the time, so I had so much testosterone. I had a high sex drive.
You definitely. Cause during the time when, we all came down,
You got a boatload of 10 threes to prove it.
freak ass. I'm talking about, we first came down, it was a time that, it was an unspoken rule, like you were saying. White people couldn't really, they tripped on white people kind of working out, jacking off, turning the TV and stuff like that. So for the white dudes that was able to do that, you know what I'm saying, you made it a part of that, you know what I'm saying, he earned his rights. Period. He earned his rights in prison, period. You know what I'm saying? And
And a lot of people don't understand what that means.
yeah. I mean,
Why
break
white
it.
dude earn the rights.
Yeah, break it down.
Because I tell my family all the time, like I've been into it a couple times with people at work or whatever, and I'm like, I fought too hard and too long to be the man that I am, to lower my head and bow down to anybody. And they're like, well, what is that? That don't have nothing to do with here. You're free now. Okay, but I've lived by my whole life.
Yeah, you have to make a name for yourself in there, more so. You know, it's not to where people look up to you or anything. You just have to make a name for yourself to let them know that, hey, you're not going to be able to step over this person or step over that person. Because you did have a few people in prison to where they couldn't speak up for themselves or hold themselves down, to where some of us that had been in there for a long time, we kind of took them under our wing. Does that make sense? Yeah, for sure. You know, like, for instance, I can speak for myself. When I was incarcerated, it wasn't that, I mean, I got mail, I got visits, I got commissary, but the only way I didn't get those things were because of me getting in trouble. And I got my stuff took from me, got put on restrictions of that nature, you know. But other than that, I was well off. Now, don't get me wrong. We help people. People say, let me borrow this or let me hold this. We'll pay you back, blase, blase, even though that's a form of trafficking, trading, and you still got in trouble for that. Even though if they didn't pay you back when they were supposed to, don't get me wrong, we coming in, we kicking doors in. If you shopping, you know you owed us, and you act like you got amnesia, we coming for our stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a,
Somebody want to ask you, what was it like your first walk in prison? Was you nervous?
I wasn't more so nervous or scared. It was like I went in with the mindset that I wasn't going. Yes, because I've had people that tell me their experiences and walk through life in prison. And so they had it embedded in my head. They're going to try you when you first walk in that door. So in my mind, you're going to try me when I first walk in that door. We finna fight. We finna go to the hole or do whatever it is that they do inside the penitentiary, because I wasn't going. I
got
wasn't
my
finna be
nose
nobody's
broke
punk.
first 30 minutes.
I mean, not saying give or take. You win some, you lose some.
What you do during the first
I
30
done
minutes
lost
of prison?
a lot, and I done won a lot, but I wasn't finna let nobody take advantage of me.
Indeed. Shoot.
You know?
What you do your first 30 minutes in prison?
Well, I mean, as far as white guys go, all right, the diagnosis in Texas, that's where I first did prison time in Texas. The diagnosis wasn't nothing. You're locked down in your cell all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So when I first went to prison, I went to Ferguson. It's called the Gladiator Farm, just like Varner used to be here. And I walked into Ferguson, and you're always told, look, pick the biggest black motherfucker out and go and punch him in the face and go and get it over with.
Yeah.
Well, I hit this dude named Red Jack, and Red Jack beat the shit out of me. And he broke my nose. And I remember going into the hallway, and I was crying and shaking. And I had my hands on the wall, and the lieutenant asked me, he says, what's wrong with you? I was like, staying down, sir. And he's like, you was? I was like, yes, sir. He's like, well, go to the infirmary. And I went to the infirmary, got some shit shoved up my nose, and went right back to the barracks.
I want y'all to answer this, especially from your point of views. With or without outside support, how would you describe prison for not just you, but for an individual? Because
Terrible.
you gotta.
It would be a whole nother level, man. It would be. We seen them guys that do that, but we didn't pay a lot of attention to them. We didn't pay a lot of attention to them. Let's say the murder mobs. You ever heard of murder mob? You remember him? Who's that guy from Highland that went crazy? A lot of them guys went crazy, man. Mentally.
Females too?
You see them in the hole they have 6 months in the hole. Just going crazy because they had nobody on the outside. They had nothing. They had no support. Them guys had it rough, man. I feel blessed that I had something. And what I didn't have, I made up for with my, inside hollering at officers or hollering at, the different business transactions to, of course, do better, live better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but without all that, like, it would be miserable, man.
Yeah, pay attention to this, y'all. Pay attention to this segment because, and I know a lot of us. It's kind of hard to meet people that don't have somebody that you care or love that's still in prison, male or female. So with or without support from out here, whether they asking about it, asking for it or not, because in there we realize that we ain't paying no bills and working for it out here. But in there, to not have support, it can bring out an animal in you, you know what I'm saying? Because you want to take what and that's dangerous because you want to take what this person got over here and they ain't going just like you ain't going. You can get your head bust for anything, stab and things like that. But you get, support in the inside really does mean a lot. And not just physical support. We go through things in there to the point where you calling your people out here, hey, call the major, call the warden, call this, because the outside help, it's somebody inside telling y'all to call somebody, make a call, contact it, do it, because they kind of fear, they got respect and the administration got respect and fear for people that got outside help. Period.
My thing is, what is hard being told to do is more so. Say, for instance, you could have been just got on the phone and called whoever you wanted to call just per se, and then it's count time, and they want you to hang up, and that's a phone call being paid and wasted for after they done accepted this call, you know what I'm saying? And you have to hang up the phone and get on your bed because they want to count you. That right there was the hardest thing for me. And then, like, say for instance, like when it's time to go to eat, my thing was I always hated the word child call because that word child call was like you're telling an animal, hey, it's time to come and eat when we're actually human beings.
Come get your slop.
Yeah, I mean stuff like that. That was the hardest thing. Find a different word besides child call.
See, but I in the course of prison, I learned that even on the women's side, y'all challenged a lot of words that was common in prison. Like, like even how you got a problem with child call. So you probably wasn't the only person that had a problem with that. It's just a common customs in prison. But y'all, the women units, y'all challenged the word hoe squad. Saying to the point where we in the field with the hoes, actual hoes and stuff. So
Right, but see, you got to look at it in a mind frame of a female because the females challenged that because they looked at that word hoe. I mean, okay, that was the given word that was given when prison was first initiated for people that were, getting in trouble. I didn't take hoe as being offensive.
Yeah.
That was just a given name that they gave to that particular, job. But then when a woman challenged that, they changed that word to field squad.
all right, do y'all think that not saying that a person that's detrimental to society out here have to go to prison because I think I don't just learn from my situations. I learn from everybody else's mistakes too. But do you think that prison made you a better person?
I can say that.
And elaborate on that.
I don't believe it's just the prison itself. I believe it's the individuals that you
for
meet.
sure, it's definitely not prison. Because prison is a place of rehabilitation, but prison ain't never changed. It's
But
up to
check
you.
this out. Everybody's
Prison
in
is
prison
not a
in their own
rehabilitation.
mind.
You say what?
Prison's not rehabilitation.
Yeah.
I've asked the wardens and everybody because they always come to me and they're like, "Won't you act better? Won't you quit doing this? Won't you quit fighting? Won't you quit getting caught with drugs, cell phones and stuff?" Hell, what are y'all doing? Y'all not doing nothing for me. I got so much fucking time, you won't give me no fucking classes.
Yeah, but like not even just saying that prison itself as the building or the society, the third world country as composed of. But is prison making you a better person? Kind of elaborate on that. You know what I'm saying? If y'all
What
don't
made
mind.
me a better person in prison? Now, don't get me wrong, because like I said, I went in angry and bitter. But at the same time, given that sentence because of what I've done, in certain situations I was placed in or I've put myself in, I had to come to terms where I was going to do my time the way I wanted to do it until I grew up. I had to decide to where I wanted to grow up. Does that make sense? Because you have to grow up in the mind. It's a mind thing. And so after I say my 10th or 11th year being incarcerated, I had to come to terms. Everybody uses this term, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, I don't use that as a good statement. And so I said, okay, I looked at my surroundings and I looked at the things that was going on around me in the circumstances that I was in. And I was just like, I want to do something better for myself. I want to do something different with myself. Not everybody else, but me as an individual. Because I knew once I got to that peak, I couldn't bring out what I brought in, meaning taken to the world. I can't come back out the way I came in because at that time, the world changes, everything changes, people change, things change. So you can't bring that same mentality that you came in with right back out because what's gonna happen, one or two things. You're gonna die or you're gonna go back to prison for more time than what you had went in and done. Does that make sense?
So, how did it change to you as an individual? You know what I mean? How do you think it helped you individually?
7 years was my plateau, sitting in the supermax, excuse me, just kind of waking up to like, this is not, matter of fact, I was halfway done with my time, and my first 7 years was backwards. It was class 4. Everything, no, I'm sitting in the supermax, so that's as far as you can go. You can't get no worse than just as far as you can go in Arkansas. You act up so far, you're in the supermax now. So, in the 18-month program. So, when I got through that, which took me 24 months to get done with that, they sent me to Tucker Max. My mind frame was different. Then, the mindset of Tucker Max is different. You're around older guys, and these older guys, everybody there got life. You know what I'm saying? My time card said I had 7 years left to do. Everybody else is way off. So my mindset started changing to a more mature level. And then as the next 7 years went on, I kind of,
When you around, so you bad. Even though you got 7 years left, that's still a long time to sit and be like, man, I go home 7 years. That's a long time to be sitting there thinking about going home.
Well, no, I
But
wasn't thinking about going home.
I'm saying in
Tucker Max,
regards,
nobody talks about going home.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I was finna speak of. In regards to, bam, you got 7 years left, and you around so many people with life. Did you catch yourself stop not speaking on going home anymore?
Yeah, definitely. You ain't gonna speak about that Tucker Max. Nobody's going home no time soon.
Do y'all think y'all met people in prison? I know if it wasn't for prison, to me, I think certain paths wouldn't never cross. Some paths wouldn't, some people you never met in life. Like it's certain, even officers when it comes to, even having certain relationships with officers and stuff. If it wasn't for prison, do y'all honestly say? I mean, we both know that if it wasn't for prison, certain people would never met because the world is just big. But then at the same time, do y'all think that prison made you link up with people and cross paths that you will be, a kindred that you will have forever, a bond that you think you have forever?
Yes, because I've been home 6 years now, and people that you thought would never get out because of the sentence that they had, they're home. And we give praise to that because at the time they were given that sentence, in their mind they was like,
Couldn't see it.
we ain't never getting out. This life, I mean, home, everything's gone. But then when you do what you're supposed to do, you know what I'm saying, granted, give or take, and then once, if you have the Lord with you, that's far and foremost. If you have the Lord with you, everything else is going to line up and fall in place. You know what I'm saying? I done seen 4 people with life sentences come home, and I am so thankful. You should see that the impact and the bond that we have with them. Trust and believe, we're gonna link up. I link up with them every time they come to Little Rock. We all go out to eat. We all sit back and we all think back and we laugh about the things that were behind us. Not more so.
Then a lot of people out here don't even
My
understand.
girl is like trips on that bond,
That camaraderie.
Like if Denario calls me and tells me, even if it wasn't for this, hey man, I'm doing this, I'm gonna go out my way. I want to try to figure out if I can get up there. That camaraderie you're talking about between that, like the people I met, co-workers and out here, it's a whole nother level than when you can be around somebody you've been in the trenches with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's because I feel like I can relate more. Yes, I've been out 7 years, and I go to work and do my things, professional and all that. But when I'm around country, when I'm around them, when I'm around different guys that are the time, I go out my way. My girl's like, why are these guys so important?
Because they don't
You
know
just,
the bond
yeah, you
that
just
y'all,
don't know.
you know.
You don't know what it was like when that person sent you that last suit they had because you just got out the hole.
Right.
You know, it's a whole other level, man. So yeah, that bond is crazy.
Hey, check this out. You know, most people on the outside would deem prisoners, you know what I'm saying, that's being con artists and manipulative. You know what I'm saying? Or, do y'all agree? You know, that's what even the officers that get jobs in prison, you know, they teach them that in the academy. They just still that in them, that we all manipulative.
But so are they.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So are they. I mean, I agree to a certain point that a lot of people in prison, that's what they do is play games and do stuff like that. But I mean, I wouldn't have the wife if I did. I got
But
it.
not all of
if
them,
it
though.
wasn't for
Yeah, it ain't all about
Not
games,
all,
but period.
not all of it, because using me as an example, even though I stayed in trouble all the time, but at the same time I would call my mom or my uncle for that matter, because them were the only two that had my back and was in my corner. I could call and say, hey, they finna get this on commissary, and I would really like to have it because I don't want to feel like because everybody else got it, I don't want to feel like they're more better than me. Because when you get those new items like them MP3s came out or whatever, everybody really thought that was just a major thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean,
Hey,
some
that was the
people,
killing part. I did.
right?
Dude, I had
and
to
so
get
I'm
one.
like, Mama, I need about $100. Hey, they got these MP3s coming out.
But at the same time, you know, your family probably won't think that you manipulative. It's the officers, and like when you meet different, like if a dude meet a woman or if a woman meet a guy, you know what I'm saying? They, you know,
But
it's a
see, it was
stereotype.
different for
Everybody
the
think
females
that
because we didn't get to do what y'all did.
Hey, hold
mainly.
up. Y'all were
To
doing
a
stuff.
degree,
Hold
no,
up. I was
okay,
reading the paper.
but you got to
When I was
look
at, When
at-
I was at Newport, I was reading about y'all over there at McPherson. Y'all was catfishing and stuff before we knew what catfishing was. Y'all had access to emails before we even knew what an email was. Y'all getting thousands upon thousands. I'm talking about swamp donkeys. I'm talking about women look like it just look like God, just the stuff He made humans with, they was made out of the rest of them. I'm talking about the ugliest women looking beautiful as hell on the
You're not
computer.
lying.
I'm talking
You're
about
not
so
lying.
saying we have it like y'all. Shoot,
But we
didn't have
did
a-
as far as
y'all
okay,
were
as far as
emailing.
cell phones.
Y'all were emailing in the
and-
early 2000s. We didn't know nothing about that. I didn't know what an email was. Never heard of it in my life. Y'all had terminology. Y'all had technology that we ain't have. Y'all able to learn how to get y'all cosmetology license and stuff. We ain't got none of that in me and you. They give you a clipper box, you put the clarification. They didn't put you a job. You ain't never had a clipper in your hand. They would gave you a job to cut hair. You go in the bird. You done got your head buzzed. Cause you done mess somebody up.
Hey, what were they called?
What's that?
My nigga.
Oh yeah, my nigga. Hey, for real. Hey.
Damn! Hey, you
For
remember
real.
walking in Tucker Max and somebody be walking in? Hey, God damn, what happened to your head? You
Right.
got my nigga. You got fucked.
Yeah.
Hey, JD. Hey, my nigga, I'm somebody dude can get their haircut. And it's to my man, into my hair just completely messed up. So you don't see it. The first thing somebody gonna say, damn, my nigga. You know you messed
Yeah.
up. Well, man, you sitting
But you got to look at it. They did the females like that too when they first come in. That would be their first thing they had to go through. Cause see, we didn't have diagnostic.
No, but we did not
Forget
have
about the
we didn't have no real barbers. The classification say, what you do in the world? They say cut grass. Oh, you can cut hair then, throw them in the barbershop.
They getting you as clippers in your job to go in here and cut
That's why I
individual
say certain
hair. You know,
things
everybody
we didn't
got
go, we
waves,
didn't
beef,
experience
what
all
the-
that.
man. Hey, give me a highlight.
Hey, did the women have to go through the same like doctors that we went through
Like-
when we first come through diagnostics? Remember Dr. Chop Chop?
Boy,
The
chop,
Chinese
chop.
dude?
I'm talking about thing. Chop, chop. I'm talking about you can sit there, you done broke a
Hey,
finger.
yeah, you got
I'm
it.
talking about you can't lift your arm or you can't walk. Chop, chop. You chop, chop.
Yeah,
You
you
good.
chop,
Chop, chop.
chop.
That's all you
You
know.
chop,
You go back to
chop.
whole squad.
No.
You know, hey, when you in there, you
Yeah.
trying to do anything to get out of whole
Dr. Chop,
squad.
chop.
Boy, I done seen people get, you know how we be in a woods with them axes and stuff? Man, they literally put their foot out there. Man, chop my foot.
Yeah.
Chop my foot, man, so I won't have to go to whole squad.
With tears.
Man.
Yeah, they don't show that far, do they, on the movie?
What's his name?
Stomp dudes, man. Just try. So he talking about he getting out of host squad, so I'm getting free stomps in. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
that whole squad was something else, man.
What's his name? He's got life sentence.
Which one?
Chris Dunn. Remember he cut his Achilles tendon with a razor blade.
Dang.
I remember the name. I don't remember who.
We was at Cummins. He cut his Achilles tendons with a razor blade just so he wouldn't have to go to whole squad.
About what age y'all think you was, just to change the subject, man, but what age do y'all think you was when you reached your plateau, when you became more cognizant, remorseful, consciousness of not just being in prison, but just who you are as an individual, identity-wise? By what age? Because you went down to 15, 18, I went down to 18, and I can honestly say I finna turn 30. I was 29. I was still 29 earlier that month, and I was like, dang. And they were like, what, man? I was like, man, hey, nigga, I'm finna turn 30. And he bust out laughing, man. He laughed up, man. I'm like, dang, I'm finna turn 30. But everything just hit me, man, like an epiphany. I was enlightened. I was like, it was like, oh, but like that light bulb went off, and I just became more conscious of everything, more sorrowful, just reflecting back on life, stuff you did that you never got caught for. But what age do you think y'all probably was, you know what I'm saying, if y'all can remember? Because,
I think
sometimes you got to go to
in
certain...
my 30s when I decided I wanted to grow up and just take a look at life, but then at the same time, it wasn't just that. I had to look at why I was in prison, and then I had to think about the families that I've affected. Does that make sense? Because I've not only affected my family, but I've affected other people's family. So I had to put in my mind and think, how do they feel? What are they going through? The hurt, the pain that I've caused them. Because I've caused that family a whole lot of pain and strife because now they don't have the loved one that they look forward to, or their children having to grow up without a parent, you know what I'm saying, to look up to. They don't have that parent for birthdays, Christmases, things of that nature, versus my family, because I've took from my family as well, birthdays, Christmases, just specific holidays of that nature. So I had to sit down and think, hey, not only I hurt myself, but I hurt both families. So I'm like, I've got to do something better. But what really touched me was where the young lady that I had took, her daughter reached out to me and wanted to understand the reality of what took place between me and her mother. Does that make sense? And she was hearing from the outside. Okay, it's cool to hear from the outside, but the outside can't tell it the way you can because it happened with you and that individual. Does that make sense? So therefore, my heart went out because I've affected this young lady and her brother. Does that make sense? Not so much as an obligation, but at the same time, I wanted to be there for them. Does that make sense? So by that young lady reaching out to me, I said, hey, I got to change my lifestyle. I got to be a different person. I've got to be a role model because you don't know the young people that you've affected. Does that make sense? So that I was in my 30s. And that young lady to this day, she's the reason why I'm free. You see what I'm saying? Do we communicate? We communicate to this day. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful for that young lady because she, outside of God, is what made me who I am today.
I didn't really change until Jesse Furr. Jesse Furr's the one who pulled my coattail. He's a brother of mine, or a dude I call my brother. And he pulled my coattail and he's like, look, he says, I've got 3 lives. I got 180 years. I'm never going home. He goes, I love you. He goes, you don't have all that time no more. Because I had 396 years. He goes, you don't have all that time no more. He had 3 lives in 180 years. So he never was going home. And he's like, let me live my life through you. He says, go home and do right.
Do any one of y'all regret going to prison?
You know
I
what?
don't.
I don't because it saved my life the way I was.
That's the way I
going.
feel.
You got a child? You got kids yet?
I got 2.
Well, check this out. None of us had kids going down. None of us had kids before we went down. Do y'all think if it wasn't for prison, we would have been total, true enough, we wouldn't have a title, we wouldn't be on this path over here. But do you think if it wasn't for us going to prison, we would be the parent we are now?
No.
Cause we would have been a whole different parent. Do you think what you done learned that made you a better parent?
I think so. Because I'm more real with my son.
Yeah.
All the little fancy birthday gift, all the little facade stuff in life, I care less. I feel like I've received I gotta make him survive. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole nother level, man. It's like I'm responsible for somebody to make a man that I didn't succeed at. I didn't succeed at. I went to prison. So, like I told her, I said, man, I'll cut your legs off when you go down. Because you don't see too many handicapped people going to prison. See what I'm saying? But that was a joke, but I feel like there's a bigger burden. I think if I wouldn't have went to prison, I would have had a son, parenthood wouldn't have been as important as it is to me.
As it is now.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Now
agree.
it's like
I agree.
It's like life or death to me. I got somebody's life in my hands.
Right.
That
I agree.
anything gets in my way, oh God. Anything come harm to him, I'm honestly, man, I don't know where I'd be.
Right.
It's a lifesaver.
I be saying this here, man. I be saying this to people sometimes, and especially my guys that been in prison. But I tell them this, man, until you have a child, man, you don't even know what love is.
Right, and that's true.
I can have nieces and nephews, I can get homeboys, homegirl, man, I love you. Love can be an adjective, a verb, and a noun.
But when your baby cling on to you.
When you have your own child, that love God was talking about,
yes,
man,
it's unconditional.
You don't realize love until you have that child.
Yes.
But I think if it wasn't for prison, not versus the child, but I wouldn't knew what love is. I wouldn't, because I ain't never endured racism and things like that. I'm from Little Rock. I'm sure we got it here, but I grew up where we hated our own kind due to a color more than we hated race. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what racism was until I went to prison. Not saying I was faced with it then, but if it wasn't for prison, I wouldn't know what racism was and certain things like that. But now that I had grown up in there, I'm thankful.
You faced a lot of challenges,
like
through some things and seen some things.
Yeah, for sure. But just to love a white guy the way I love my guys over here, and like I tell people all the time, family ain't what you born into.
Exactly.
Family is what you make.
Right.
Period. And I
That's
feel
true.
we born kindreds and bonds in there that just unbreakable. Period.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Like if I get a phone call from the pen, man, it's like I could be having a rough day. I'm about to get happy. I'm about to talk some shit.
Right.
Hope we can FaceTime. That's the big.
Oh, yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what type of phone they get.
No, they letting them now. You
No,
can. No. Yes. They are FaceTime.
yeah, you got the video thing, but he
No.
talking about the phone. He
We talking about
cell
the phone. Yes.
I'm saying you like, for instance, my
Cell
brother.
phones are illegal as hell in prison.
I'm not talking about cell phones.
That's
I'm
what we talking
Oh,
about.
well, see.
Everybody can video tag.
Yeah, I'm going by the book right now.
We don't go by the book.
We talking about the cell phone.
Look,
Yeah, we don't go by the book.
we disagreed to agree. Okay.
But they got it now where you can video call your people and stuff now. You know what I'm saying? The emails and all that. It's crazy because they
got the internet in there and stuff now that we didn't have.
My music
when
on
we
the
was in there.
kiosk. My music on the kiosk and stuff. Shoot yourself, man. To sit there and dudes call, hey man, we bumping you right now, man. You hear that in the background, man? It just
Makes you feel
You don't know
good.
what that
Yeah.
does for them. That's crazy.
I ran into Warren Gibson the other day at Sam's. I ran into Sarge. She said she a captain now. Last night, man, at Best Buy, going to get the little camera. But just to see them out here, you know what I'm saying, and cause you got a lot of officers that thought they were better than us. Period.
Indeed, but they treated you like you were never getting out. And now and why I say that now, okay, they see you when you're free. It's like, wow. And I'd be like, okay, now you see me and you treated me as such when I was in there, but I'm free. What do you have to say now? Don't act scared now because you wanted to be hardcore in there. Don't act like we the best of friends now that we free because that's what they do. No, we're not going to play that. If you disliked me in there, I want you to continue to dislike me while I'm out here because we're not going to befriend each other.
There's a name for that one.
Terrorist
That was
front.
that was there was a name attached to that. This is a particular one.
Right. So, no.
Hey, I've seen
I'm
a
not with
few
that.
since I've been out. I've seen a few officers, and my wife is, like I said, like I told you earlier, she's like the white part of a yin yang because I'm the black. Because I've been in trouble my whole life.
That's me.
And she's never been in trouble. And then when she meets like officers or whatever, and she was like, and I introduced her, I'm like, there's a fucking asshole right there for you.
Right,
and,
right.
I mean, I let her know because I'm the one. I'll tell you. I don't
Right.
give a fuck.
Well,
I'm
we
gonna tell
not
you how
locked
I
up
feel.
now. We free. It ain't no.
But
we throw the cuffs
even
on
in the
you,
joint,
going to the
I'll tell
hole.
you how I feel.
For sure.
I mean, if you don't want, people will tell you, hey, look, don't ask Big Country. Big Country's going to tell you something that might hurt your feelings. But that's
was
just
me.
the way I've always been.
That was me.
And I tell her, and she's like, why you got to talk to people like that? I said, because dude, he's a fucking asshole. I said, fuck him being a guard.
Right.
And she's like, why you like that? I said, because he terroristic fronted and woofed in the penitentiary. And he only reason he did it is because he had a blue shirt on. He thought he was Superman or
Can't go to
somebody.
the
Right.
hole now.
Right.
That's
Right.
all, I had
Ain't
a
no
certain
hole.
job
Ain't no
out here.
hole.
That's all straight. Hey, I can't go to the hole now, player. You know what I'm saying?
But then
And
you
then-
had some of them good officers that us inmates, if you was that close to them and they did stuff for you, you know what I'm saying? But if you got caught with it and then you got the ward and them coming down, where did you get it from? Oh, we know such and such brought it in, or we know, no, we're going to ride that out. We're not even, because for the
sure,
simple
lock me
fact,
up.
they have jobs, they have families. We're going to protect them.
And then when I get out, we gonna do the same
We're
thing.
gonna do
again.
the
Why
same.
gonna tell
Hell
them?
yeah.
Right.
Why,
Why break that bond if that's your connect? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So
It's called
you're
being
gonna
real.
hold they back and they're gonna see the realness in you. Oh, they had my back. They didn't even rat me out while the whole time they nervous thinking they're gonna lose their jobs or whatever. If we say we got you, we got you. You know what I'm saying? Because I've done a couple of officers like that to where we had just got real close, real bonded at the Hawkins unit. You know what I'm saying? And I took the fall for a couple of officers. You know what I'm saying? And went and did time, got sent back to Newport or whatever, vice versa. But they seen the realness in me. And we still have that connect to this day. So, yeah.
My closeness is mainly with the bros.
Yeah.
People, because like I said, Dirt, when I first got out, I wasn't out 3 days, he come see me.
Yeah.
As soon as I got out. And then matter of fact, he got to meet my mom because my mom come down. My sister paid for my mom to come down. We spent Mother's Day. And he come down and stayed with me. And Dirt, I called Dirt, talked to Dirt a lot. And I mean, that's, to me, my wife, she says, oh, you're with your bromancings. Because me and him always kick it on the phone all the
We
time.
would say bromances.
Yeah, bromances.
Hey, I be seeing that on Facebook. A lot of women question how excited a guy get when his guys pop up and stuff like that. You don't understand. You free from all obligation that you had in that household today, parenting, whether it's washing dishes, whatever. When your guy pull up, and your girl, you know, she got to take all that. You know what I'm saying? While we sit out here and probably, you know what I'm saying, just chop it up, laugh, you know, play domino, what we do, you know, we free from right now. You know.
Well, I mean, she looks at it, and one thing, like, there's a couple of dudes, she's like, I really don't like you messing with them. She goes, but she loves Donald Sain. She loves his old lady. And she's like, look, she goes, you get so, it's like you just turn to another person when you're talking to Donald Sain. I said, you just don't know, like, some of the dudes that I've met. Right. And they'll ask me, they'll be like, dude, you don't call me bro, and like that. I said, dude, I've been through shit with dude. I know if I call him and say, hey, man, I need you, he's coming.
Whether you're right or wrong.
I said,
I've had something like that.
That's a dude. That's my brother right there.
For sure. Indeed, a lot of people don't understand that. But we're finna get ready to conclude this segment of Prison Chronicles. Stay tuned, and I thank y'all for joining in with us. Make sure you like and share this as much as possible, and you can contact me at D Cook Bookings, or you can contact me on Facebook via Facebook or any social media out there. And if you know any guys and females that have been in prison, and you want them to be a part of the set, tell them to contact me. You can contact me. My phone number is 501-551-8489. That's my actual number. I'm not scared to get out. And I hope you enjoyed this show. Make sure you share this as much as possible, because every week we're going to have different males and females up here to tell their versions and break down the true and the real part of prison, things like that. And so if you have any questions and you want your answers, you know, your questions answered and things like that, just contact us and make sure you follow us. And I would like to thank these gentlemen and this lady. And y'all got anything to say before we ride out?
Shout out, G-Love. See you.